Hi, John. Well, when you opened the show, I think you said it perfectly. It's a bittersweet day here at Dodger Stadium. Of course, with the news of losing Austin Barnes, with him being designated for assignment, he is a player who not only means so much to this organization, he is a glue guy in the clubhouse. The guys love him on and off the field. He's been huge for a lot of the pitchers and key moments. And of course, the final out in 2020 in the World Series. So for him, he's had big moments with this organization. But now there's a chance for a young player, a top prospect in Dalton Rushing, to have big moments for himself as well. Dave Roberts talked about making that move now and why they decided to go with it today.
This was certainly a tough conversation. Austin is a Dodger for life. He helped us win a championship. Caught the last pitch in 2020 in the World Series, and he's done a lot of great things in the community, for the Dodgers, for myself personally, and I just think that for us right now, with what Dalton Rushing is doing on the performance side, it's an opportunity to challenge him, expand his growth, give him an opportunity to log some major league games, and essentially give him some runway.
Will it mostly be behind the plate, or will there be some maybe outfield or something too?
I don't see any outfield. It could change, but I think that for me, he's going to start tomorrow, and I see him probably catching, 2 times a week, taking pinch hit at bats, and I think kind of the thought was to get him more familiar with our pitchers and catch bullpens and obviously take at bats off the bench, but certainly getting starts.
How much is this as much about Dalton as it is about Will Smith?
It's a combo, I would say, Dave. I think if you've seen how I've managed Will this year, it's been a little bit on the conservative side, and I think that there is some part of it where I want to make sure I keep him fresh and wanting for more as the season goes on, and then I see some runway for a backup catcher, and I think that like I said, Dalton's earned this opportunity.
So like Dave Roberts said, this move, it really was to provide opportunity and runway for Dalton Rushing, having him as a true backup catcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dalton, he got the call last night from his AAA manager, and he said that it was late. He almost didn't answer, was almost going to sleep, but to have that big news, he is beyond thrilled. The biggest space of growth for him this year has been just game calling. It was something that was a point of emphasis during spring training, in which they had created essentially like fake meetings for him to be a part of, just to get used to working with the big league pitchers, and then even with guys on their rehab assignment. He said that's proven to be incredibly valuable for him. So he's excited. We know what the bat can do. So tomorrow he'll have that start behind the plate, and the future looks very bright for Dalton Rushing, guys.
And the Dodgers' 2 catchers now on the active roster, Will Smith and Dalton Rushing, both from the University of Louisville. Thank you very much, Kirsten. We'll see you again in a few minutes. Dodgers posted on social media today a sentiment shared by Dodger fans as well. Thank you, Austin, for all the contributions you made in Dodger Blue and helping to bring 2 championships here to Los Angeles. And we know that Austin Barnes, he wasn't an all-star player, doesn't have the career accolades to train like some of his superstar teammates have, but 11 seasons in this organization, was a huge part of a lot of great Dodger teams since the day that he arrived here, wins 2 championships, had a tremendous impact on this team.
Well, for a backup catcher, I haven't seen anybody have more impact than this man. He was an extension of Dave Roberts on that bench. Everybody talked to Will Smith and Austin Barnes, especially if you're on the rotation, because you trusted his presence. Not only impactful at the plate, but game calling, pitch sequence, motivation. I mean, he was our salty vet in that locker room, and every world championship needs a salty vet. Outstanding human on and off the field. He befriended me, and we talked a lot about the Dodgers and what the inner working was in that locker room. And really, he was the tone guy, and loving seeing that moment for him where he caught that final strike in the 2020 World Series. We'll never forget it. It's a bittersweet moment, because the bottom line is you never want to see anybody go home, especially because he's a guy that's going to be a Dodger for life. But you know what? Out with the old, in with the new as far as Dalton Rushing and being impactful, but Austin Barnes is a Dodger. He will always be welcomed here because of his impact on the field and off field and in that locker room as well.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations to Austin Barnes.
Yeah.
Right? What a career. I mean, it reminds me of a guy that I played with, Brad Ausmus. You know, a guy that didn't hit for a big average, but came up with some big hits. And like you said, was so great with the pitchers, right? You're not playing every day. You're probably playing once every 7 to 8 days on average. But that's, you know, it's going to be big when you're on the bench with those guys when you're not playing. You're talking to the pitchers. You're talking to the starters. You're going to the video room. There's so many things you're trying to do, right? You want to be out there with your guys, but there's things that you can do to contribute. So, I mean, bringing up Dalton Rushing, I think, is a good time right here with Teo down, with Tommy down. You don't want the offense to get stagnant. You know, you can't rely on, you know, obviously the big three at the top every single day. Yeah. So you want to keep that offense rolling. So let's see what we got.
Well, and you mentioned Dalton Rushing, and there are many people in the organization. Just felt like it was time to see what he can do at the big league level, James. He was hitting .308, 5 homers at AAA. He's the #1 prospect in the organization. What do you think he brings to this team?
Yeah, I mean, from the highlights that we saw, he was driving the ball on hitters' counts with 2 strikes. We saw him putting the ball in play. You know, he's a big kid. He's strong. Right. He's got this presence about him that he belongs. You know, I saw him in spring training, hit a walk-off double down the left field line off the lefty. I mean, that's hard to do. The pitch is on the outside corner. His last home run in AAA was Oppo. It was right on the outside corner. So when you're driving the ball to the other field, to the opposite field, that's hard to pitch to, right? Because as a pitcher, you're like, all right, do I want to come in because I know he can pull the ball for power, or do I keep trying to stay away? And a lot of times at this level, they'll keep trying to stay away. Hopefully you get your single, but I think he's going to be driving to the ball to the oppo gaps and bringing those guys in.
I think he did an outstanding job in spring training saying, hey, I'm close to making to the big leagues. I think he did an outstanding job with the impression in that locker room that I have elite bat-to-ball skill. And this is an offense over the last couple of days that's had trouble with runners in scoring position. I like this young man in that position because his bat-to-ball skills is elite. You're hitting 300 in AAA. You're showing some line-to-line power, and you know no sequence is too big. And so you knew he was a big leaguer in spring training. He had that type of presence. So I think it's going to be a nice shot in the arm. He's already worked and knows some of these pitchers. The game calling, we'll see that grow on him. But offensively, I think he's going to hit the ground running and be a presence, especially in the bottom of that lineup.
Yeah, shortly after the Dodgers drafted him in 2022, they had him taking batting practice here, and I didn't know who that was in the cage swinging the bat train. All of a sudden, I turned to somebody and said, who is that? Because the ball was jumping off his bat. And they said, oh, that's the guy the Dodgers just drafted, Dalton Rushing. All right, let's get to tonight's starting lineup. See how Dave Roberts is stacking things for the second of this 3-game series. You've got Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie at the top. All 3 of them looking to bounce back after they went a combined 0 for 9 last night. You have Will Smith doing the catching for this one. He will bat cleanup. Max Muncy's at third base. Andy Pajes in right. Michael Conforto starts in left. James Outman on his birthday will start in center field, and Haesung Kim starts at second base, batting 9th. James, what sticks out to you?
You know, the bottom of the lineup, I mean, Michael Conforto coming off a great game last night. You know, hit some balls hard in Arizona. Didn't have anything to show for it. So let's see if he can continue that.
You know what? Freddie Freeman hitting .464 of his last 15 games with 22 RBIs. Take the game personal, especially last night. You know the veterans at the top of the lineup. They're the catalyst. I think it's going to be some loud contact early and often to get the offense going.
All right, let's get that offense going tonight. Dodgers need it on